with your family to rediscover different parts of India. That and other things. Let's walk you through everything we have here on the show.
Old Walls News Stories, walking through time, heritage conservation, keeping history alive, breathing life into forgotten tales of India. Let's give you a glimpse of how India and Indians are rediscovering the roots.
And from the history very much to the present, the most important story, or one of the most important stories playing out in North India right now, the AQI and one couple's goal of fighting it with the very unique setup that they have at home. These are the aquaponics farmers, Peter and Nino. They've gone viral, but we take you inside their home to show you how it's so much more than just low AQI.
In summer, when outside temperature 45, inside home is 25, no air conditioning. And this air is coming here, it's going through, there are fans circulating it, it comes through our house, there's an exhaust fan at the kitchen and it goes out.
India observes the National Pollution Control Day 2024, highlighting the need for collective action and for environmental action. This year's theme is Clean Air and Green Earth.
And right after that, as we told you a little earlier, Delhi's AQI back in focus. It remains in the severe zone, 233, 303, 327. Those are some of the numbers we're seeing as the AQI continues to plummet.
And also on the program, we'll bring you the overdrive verdict of the Mahindra XEV. Does electric really the future? How is this SUV set to impress or not? We take a review. Alright, as the winter chill set in, it's the perfect time to step outdoors and explore the historical treasures around us. Heritage walks, especially in cities like Delhi, offer a chance to connect with the stories, architecture and traditions that shaped our history. Now, these experiences aren't just about monuments, they are about rediscovering the layers of culture and community that define who we are. Now, interestingly, heritage tourism seeing a significant rise in India as well. So today will be all about giving you a glimpse of that.
Right. A recent report by India Tourism Statistics actually found that participation in heritage activities has grown by 25% in just the last 2 years. This growth obviously isn't limited to international tourists, and that's what's so exciting. It's Indians rediscovering and exploring their own cities and histories. And it's driven by a growing curiosity about everything that has defined us. Now, the pandemic has played a very important role in this shift. It's made us more aware of the spaces we live in and the stories that those spaces hold. Delhi, the city we're in, is of course a city that's steeped in history. But what we're going to be taking a look at today is how that's expanded out to other cities too.
Right, so every corner tells a story and every structure has a tale to share. Our guests today are deeply involved in bringing these stories to life. Heritage Conversation isn't just about saving old buildings, it's actually about creating opportunities for people to connect with their surroundings and their history in a more meaningful way. Engage, know, talk about it, explore it as well.
Okay, so let's introduce who our guests are today with you. We have Sufia Ji, or Abu Sufia. He's the founder of Tales of a City, an initiative that began in Delhi and has expanded across several cities. It curates heritage walks, photo walks, culinary experiences, so the whole gamut of experiencing history through the different ways they do it all, and we'll talk a little bit about them in just a second. Now, Sufia has also collaborated with UNESCO historians such as Swapna Lidle and William Dalrymple, and we'll talk a little bit about those collaborations in a second. Our second guest joining us in studio is Atul Khanna. He's a heritage conservationist who spent years restoring historic Havelis, primarily in Rajasthan, in the region of Shekhawati. But his most recent project is right here in New Delhi. It's the Kathika Cultural Center. We'll talk a little bit about what makes that too. Let's go over to both of them to understand more. First, Sufia, we'll come over to you to understand from you. Sufia, tell us the organization you've been running. You've been doing it for 8 years now. How has the expectation that audiences have from tour guides, how has that changed? Have you seen the audience itself mature?
Yes, if I compare this in the initial days back in 2016, when you hear about the tour guide, it's like a typical tour guide that you see on ASI Monument that tell you about very, a limited set of knowledge. While in today's time, people have more expectation from their tour guide, apart from that theoretical knowledge or academic knowledge, or you can say the typical Wikipedia set of knowledge. People expect that they get more stories from the storytellers. They want more deep dive into the stories, its architecture, its history, its cultural significance, or any story that is connected to that. So over the period of last 8 years, the audience has matured, and they further want to deep dive into the stories, and they want to get into, apart from the all the battles that the kings have done. People want to know about their personal life, their food, their how they are with their family member, what are the other what is their relation with the literature, art, and all. So I think this really helped us in curating more and more stories over the period of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Atul, let's come to you next. For a lot of people watching this right now, they're trying to figure out, okay, how does it work? In the good old days, how we were discovering that it used to be a tour guide that you go to. If you were to go to Agra, you would find somebody who's come from abroad, and in India, people would learn English very quickly and take them around. That experience has sort of fundamentally changed over the years, and it's happening more and more for Indians. Give us a glimpse of how it was, say, 5 years versus now.
I would say that earlier it was about seeing monuments. Earlier it was about that, you have to have a checklist that these monuments you have to check out. But I think today, whether it is a foreign traveler or even I see the change, as you rightly mentioned, the Indians, everybody is looking for an experience. Like I see that, I meet these youngsters, and it's not about making another, a jewelry piece. They all want to travel. They want to really create or be part of experiences which are spread out all over the country and abroad, of course.
Sure.
So we've seen that change take place. Let's go back, Sufia, and just ask you something. You, in a few of your interviews, have actually said that in the last few years, there were two crucial things that changed the surface of what you do. One, I think you've said, is the lockdown, and the other was demonetization. And I thought that was really interesting. Can you tell us a little more?
Yeah. So when the demonetization happened, a lot of people switched to the digital payments. So earlier, when we used to roll out the any event or any public walk, people used to register on Google Form, but on the day of the walk, they don't show up. So to show up, you need that particular commitment. So and it was really difficult to get the payment in the bank account and all. So UPI payment have made it easy, or the Paytm have made it easy. So we used to ask people to transfer the payment on through Paytm, and only then your booking will be confirmed. So a lot of people have started doing it. That increased the number of attendance in these walks. And the second thing, and it shifted, I can see the people who used to come, 4 or 5 people who used to come to these walks after the demonetization or after the data transactions, the number increased to 15 people, 20 people, sometimes 30 people. But it is very dynamic. Sometimes it's 10 people to 20 people. That was the strength of the people who used to come to these walks. And eventually, when the lockdown happened, I think that after the lockdown, when it was unlocking, when the government was lifting the lockdown, so there are certain conditions that in which condition the walk segment was ideally very fitting. So you cannot move out of your city. Interstate transportation was not enabled, and you have more. You cannot go to the event which are more than 30 people, so people have started discovering activities that are fulfilling these needs, and they have started discovering that there are heritage walks happening in the city. And that was the time when people have started coming to these walks, and they started discovering their cities on the weekend, apart from going to the clubs or going to nearby cities like Rishikesh, or 3 hour journey, 4 hour journey. So that's when they get to know about these activities, and it's like they started enjoying it every Sunday morning. Also, a lot of people who are from Delhi NCR are not a native of Delhi or NCR, so they found their own like-minded community, the people who were away from home. So you sort of build a community of friends as well, of the like-minded folks. So what's better than that, finding your tribe in a completely a new city?
Yeah, but Atul, the thing is that every time we come to heritage walks, etc., it seems like a Delhi or a Mumbai phenomena. But is that changing as well? For example, cities like Lucknow, Jaipur, etc., even Rajasthan, where you do so much of work, are people picking up to this discovery of incredible India?
I think that's definitely happening. Now, for example, in Shekhawati, we are about to start a similar thing, people going for walks. Because what happens is, like for example, Shekhawati, there is closed heritage, So with the help of the locals, since we are there, we can open up this heritage. And as you rightly said, that more and more travelers are coming, whether Indians, overseas travelers, we kind of enable them to see what real Old Delhi is, or what real Shekhawati or whichever part of India is. So the local support, the local help, they make them do the things which the locals do. That's what people are now more interested today.
Yeah.
As a tourist spots, people have seen those monuments. It's already done. Now they want to experience the city as the locals do it themselves. So all these kind of walks and these kind of, like for example, we do a lot of mehfils and baithaks at Katika Cultural Center. So people, they plan their Sunday or Saturday that there's something else also, just besides going to a movie or to a party. There are these baithaks and there are these mehfils where we introduce them to from Sufi to opera, all kinds of interactive sessions happen. So that's made the people more, they feel that there is also something else they can do.
True, true.
Atul, tell us, a big part of what you do in Shekhawati is restoring Havelis. What is that process like? Especially, I would assume, today the artisans that you can work with are not the same ones who had built those Havelis. So how do you kind of make sure they have the skills required? Tell us that, and also tell us what this is, because it's been lying here.
I know, yeah, this is... So just to tell you about, see, I'm not a historian, neither I am an architect. I realize my calling, I'm just somebody following my passion. So I reached the area, I just by accident, I was in Shekhawati, I realized that there are so many abandoned Havelis because all these Marwadis, they made these beautiful Havelis because the camel trade used to go through Shekhawati. And then they realized that when the trade moved to the seaports, all of them moved to Calcutta and Mumbai and all these places. So these beautiful architectural wonders, I would say, Shekhawati, I realized that if we can save some of these Havelis. So how I did was that I took a lot of local consultancy, like the old masons who may not be working, the old craftsmen who were too old to do things now, they became my consultants. And of course, the younger ones were doing, following their orders. So that is one route I kind of, followed. For example, to work with lime, that was something very new. And
limestone.
The limestone, because all the buildings were made out of lime.
Yeah.
So it's a learning, and I feel the best consultants are the local people, the old people who actually their forefathers had built these Havelis. So that was one way I moved ahead and restored. Like when I restore a Haveli, it's like saving a life to me. So I feel that there's so much of heritage. We talk about the big monuments, they are taken care by the ASI. But what about these small nuggets which are spread all over the country, So it's time that we also focus on these small nuggets and try to save them, make them into your business models, People now have started appreciating, they have new respect for heritage today.
Right. Let me go to Sophia on this one. Sophia, you've been doing a lot of work in tier 2 cities as well. So take us through, what is the response like? Who are the people coming in for these walks? Is this just the woke Gen Z, which is online, or do you have more adults who want to rediscover their city in a new way? You have more people who want to discover storytelling in a new way. Give us a glimpse.
So, I have tested this model apart from Delhi. Working in Delhi, we started experimenting this public walk model where our primary audience is India. And the age group side is right from a 10-year kid till like people who are in like 70-year-old people, and the like people who are in their 30s to 45 years age segment. They are the one who are like coming more to these walks. So when you hear of the walks, you imagine that some oldies will come and they will enjoy the evening, but that's not the case. Like there is an equal number of participation from the Generation Z and millennials and the older generation. So that is one thing that is coming out very interestingly, and they engage with each other. They help out each other. We see that even in the tier 2 cities. Like we see a great response, and we always feel get a feedback that okay, there is something happening in our city. Someone is talking about our stories, and especially when it come out from the locals only, because local is the best resource available there. So our team make sure that we bring out some experts from the community as well, from the area as well, and train them. So this is really helping them out because it is generating a lot of revenue for the locals, and our 90% workforce is the locals as well. The storytellers are the locals only. Yeah.
So it's a good way, right? It helps the locals, it gives out more information about it, and also helps people who live there actually understand more. It's a good
so good and so important. Yeah. Atul, tell us though, now what is the artifact you brought in with you here today?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is one of my favorites. All my projects, they would have something called the Majolica tiles, you know. So these are tiles which were made in Japan, and some enterprising businessmen or a company, they found that India was an extremely interesting place for them. So they started supplying a lot of these Majolica ceramic tiles to India. So if you see any of the heritage, you know, whether it's a palace or a Haveli, you'll see a lot of Majolica tiles. It's from the 19th century ceramic tiles that were supplied by the Japanese to all the heritage projects, all the projects which were happening in those days, you know. Whether it was building a palace or a Haveli, you'll find these interesting Majolica tiles there.
If we could just hold it for our audience, this actually has a god on it though. So you're telling us the Japanese were making Indian gods for the Indian market?
So that's how they saw the opportunity. So you'll find all kinds of gods, from Hanuman to Shiva to all kinds of gods made by the Japanese on the tiles. All these ceramic tiles, you know, found home in even normal homes, you know, besides the grand palaces and Havelis. So that was very trendy in those days, you know. And one more point, you know, when we were talking about people, another thing which I find is very trendy, lot of women groups are now coming to us, you know, whether it is to the hotel. So I think the women today are having a lot of fun. So especially when I see in my, you know, in Rajasthan, there are these women groups, so many women groups who are going themselves for the adventures. So thanks to all those guys, you know, they are giving us good business.
Nice. Why should boys have all the fun, as they say? Women are clearly rocking it in all spectrum. And here bringing in business, we hope more women entrepreneurs get into this as well. That's my only hope over there. We have time for a few more questions. Let me take that to Sophia. Sophia, if you were to point out for us, for people watching right now, that, you know, it's good to know that women are participating. The question often becomes on how safe it's going to be, where are we going to go, because a lot of times these are walks inside a park or at a place which is a little run down. So to women saying, how do we know authenticity of a good walk or a good model? Are there some tips that you can share?
So, as Atul sir said that like we get more women, so our 80% participants are women only, and even if there are boys or the men, it is accompanied by a woman. So, and even the walks are led by mostly by the women, are like 90% walk leaders are the women only. And we especially focus that we make these walks safe for the women, especially when we are choosing the meeting point. We make sure it is in an area where women can reach easily. So we think of a walk with a woman perspective. Even we do a very interesting walks where we take out women for the night walk in Mehrotra Archaeological Park, and the whole idea of doing it that to make these spaces safe by creating an awareness. And the group size is generally 30 to 40 people. So it is it's become more easy for the women to come out, and there are like men escorting them. So like our team members, there is a team apart from the walk leader. There's a team who ensure that no antisocial element penetrate during the tour, and we make sure like very strictly that our group is safe. So yeah, these are things that we need to keep in mind, that even if we are going into the odd hours, we do a lot of recce before
at
getting
night
into
with women. It brings back some memories that one doesn't want to speak about here.
I hope pleasant ones.
It brings back those memories. It was so good to know that you guys are trying to reclaim the night, so to say, and ensuring that this happens over there. That's quite nice.
And we believe that if you want to make roads safe for the women, then women should reclaim these roads. So that's our ideology.
Sophia, Atul, let's just come back to you for a quick last word. Your last word to audiences who are watching this morning and joining us on the Breakfast Club. Atul, go first, please.
So I would say that, our Indian travelers, you've discovered the villages of Italy and, all these, America. It's time that you discover the villages of your own country, discover the old towns of your own country. It is more interesting. It's really amazing. And I'll promise you, you're going to have a wonderful time doing it. And also look at, I think there are so many startups. I'm inspired by all these young people having startups. Bring heritage also into the startup. Heritage you'll have the respect. It'll become a business model because more and more people are looking at heritage. So save these heritage buildings which are all around you. We are very lucky that in India there are so many heritage buildings you can actually make it convert into a business model.
And Sophia?
Yeah. So I'll say that I'll just in continuation to the Atul sir, that Indian love stories, and what's better than hearing your own stories and associating it with it. And India is a very vast country. Like I have traveled to almost 100 cities. Whenever people ask me, have you been to any international country and all, there's so much to cater to in India that let me cover India first and then I'll go to the I'll go to abroad. So for example, people go to the Switzerland, there is a whole alpine lake in Kashmir, Greater Lake, and it is pretty safe. I've been there myself, and at the same time one of my friends was going in Switzerland, and we were uploading the photos at the same time on the Instagram, and she was like referring to your scenery is more beautiful because we are in India. You should explore India first after exploring the other countries.
So explore incredible India. We've been saying this message for so long, but the takeaway from the story is now there are actually avenues available for you to indulge in storytelling, get to understand this in much more detail, which is what people like Atul and Sophia are doing. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining us with your stories. And here's hoping to give our viewers a bit of inspiration on what to do.
Yeah, I hope
just Monday, but yeah, you can think.
Especially as the holiday season is coming, winter season is coming, students are going to be on break. Look up things like Tales of a City, look up things like Katika Cultural Centre, discover and visit them with your families. We're going to head into a short break. On the other side of the break, like we had these two change makers, we have more change makers on the other side. We're going to make you meet a couple that is setting sustainability goals. This is Peter and Singh. You've probably seen them on social media already. These are the two aquaponics farmers. But we're going to show you how it's not just the AQI that they're keeping in control in their houses. They've built an entire sustainable green lifestyle, and they're going to take us into it on the other side.
persecution of Hindus continues in Bangladesh. In the latest development, reports of vandalism at yet another ISKCON center in Bangladesh have emerged. Today, ISKCON has called for a worldwide global player meeting against the backdrop of attacks on ISKCON devotees in Bangladesh. Devotees, in fact, in over 150 countries will gather to chant and pray for the safety of minorities residing in Bangladesh. India continues to express concern over the atrocities against the Hindus living in Bangladesh, and recently, in fact, the RSS has also demanded the immediate release of ISKCON monk Chinmoy Krishnadas, and in fact has also appealed to the Bangladesh's interim government to ensure that the attacks are stopped immediately. And some breaking developments now coming in. We are learning that amid escalating tensions in Bangladesh, ISKCON Kolkata Vice President Radha Raman Das claims that two ISKCON priests who were associates of Chinmoy Krishnadas, the monk currently arrested, were also arrested in Bangladesh on Saturday. Let's listen in to what ISKCON's Vice President has to say.
29 नवंबर को जब श्री आदि पुरुष श्याम दास और रंगनाथ दास ब्रह्मचारी दोनों जेल में बंद चिन्मय कृष्ण प्रभु को प्रसाद देकर वापस आ रहे थे तो रास्ते में उनको पुलिस ने गिरफ्तार कर लिया। यह भी खबर मिल रही है कि चिन्मय कृष्ण दास के जो सेक्रेटरी थे उनको भी गिरफ्तार किया गया है। और ISKCON का एक सेंटर है वैरव में, वहां पर दंगाइयों ने घुसकर पूरे मंदिर को तहस नहस कर दिया है। तो इस तरह की खबर हम देख रहे हैं कि रुकने का नाम नहीं ले रहा है और समझ में नहीं आता कि क्या करना चाहिए। रविवार 1 दिसंबर को बांग्लादेश के माइनॉरिटीज के लिए भगवान से प्रार्थना करेंगे।
CNN News 18's editor Kamalika Singh Gupta is joining us on the broadcast. Kamalika, very good morning to you. Please walk us through the details with regards to these two ISKCON priests that the ISKCON Vice President is claiming has been arrested.
See, what we are getting it from these sources is that one of them, like Shyamdas, Brahmachari Shyamdas, they went to meet Chinmay Krishna Prabhu. And then after that they were arrested there. That's what Radha Raman Das is claiming, and that's what we are getting from ground sources. There has been no official confirmation from Bangladesh side that is there. And today, whole day, various temples of ISKCON in worldwide, they are going to actually pray for the minorities in Bangladesh and for the release of Chinmay Krishna Prabhu and others. And as we know that some of the bank accounts have also been freezed for coming 30 days, that is also a concerning area. The lawyers have been beaten up and none of the lawyers now want to stand for them. That is also a concerning area. So according to ISKCON, this is a very, very, very bad situation where there is only now, there is this way of praying. We have seen that in last week, ISKCON in Kolkata has prayed and they have done a protest kirtan, probably for the first time in the history. Such a protest kirtan was seen there in Calcutta, and today also in the evening from 4 to 6 there is going to be special prayer and kirtan there, which is a protest. Now this is the condition. We are also getting another news that one of very renowned journalist, Munni Shah, was picked up by the police yesterday night, and then today in the morning, according to the news reports that is coming from the agency, from the papers of Bangladesh, to the morning she has been released on the basis of certain bond. That is also very concerning, where this bond means that it means she must appear in court to seek bail and comply with police summons. So situation really bad. This journalist too is a Hindu. So this is a very, very concerning situation in Bangladesh.
Right, Kamalika, thank you so much for all of those details. We'll keep coming back to you to track more about.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. It's time now for wraps. These are quick summaries of stories taking place around the world and in India. Let's take a look. First up, we take you to England, where Britain's underground marathon runners are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. This is a World War II bunker near the southern English city of Portsmouth. Once used by the Royal Navy, it staged the first ever British marathon to fully take place underground. As you can see in these incredible visuals, a total of 87 runners donning cycling helmets and head torches. They ran around the damp makeshift 460-meter course on Saturday in a unique setting for the long-distance sporting event.
And moving on, December is here, time for Christmas bells, and this time we bring you them from Santiago. Giant balloons fill the sky with the magic at the start of the Santiago's Christmas season. Walt Disney heroes like Mickey Mouse, Buzz Lightyear, Spider-Man hovered over Chile's capital on Saturday. The annual Disney parade is a huge pull for children who line the streets for a glimpse of their favorite characters.
And from one beloved children's character to another, dozens of Santas congregating at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin as they prepare for Christmas. The gate has been dubbed Berlin's Santa headquarters.
The annual Golden Wutong Festival of Zhejiang University opened on Friday, attracting numerous students and visitors to experience the picturesque scene. The road there, covered in layers of golden leaves, became a popular spot for students and tourists to capture the autumn beauty. This year's festival includes 6 stamp collection spots with different themes, including the westward migration and the Chinese culture.
And you can see heavy snow. Parts of the US Northeast facing near paralysis on Sunday yesterday as a fierce lake effect winter storm continued to dump heavy snow on cities such as Buffalo and Watertown in the state of New York. The weather system has also brought temperatures 10 to 15 degrees below the average that you have this time of the year across much of the eastern United States.
And climate crisis continues to play havoc. Torrential rains flooded homes, businesses and roads in popular Greek tourist islands of Rhodes on Sunday, forcing authorities to temporarily ban the use of vehicles as Storm Bora pounded the country for a second day. On Saturday, a man died in flash floods which hit the Greek island in the North Argon region. The fire services received more than 650 calls to pump water out of flooded buildings in Rhodes Island and evacuated 80 people to safer ground. All right, so those are the things happening across the globe, but let's give you a little trivia about 2nd of December, which is today. It marks the National Pollution Control Day in India, a day to remember the devastating sort of Bhopal gas tragedy as well that claimed about 15,000 lives in 1984. This year's theme is Clean Air, Green Earth, a step towards sustainable living, emphasizing the urgent need for eco-friendly practices to reduce pollutants affecting our air, water and soil.
Objectives of National Pollution Control Day. Let's take you through them. Obviously, number 1, raising awareness about pollution, but also to honor the victims of the Bhopal gas tragedy, to promote cleaner practices, to support environmental policies, to encourage community participation. This is what the importance of today is.
All right, talking about the importance, well, looking at pollution as well, it's time to take a look at a pollution meter and how is Delhi AQI along with the North Indian AQI really faring this morning. Remember, today is the crucial day when Supreme Court will be sitting down to decide whether or not GRAP 4 guidelines will be lifted. So far, for the past 2 weeks, we've had GRAP 4 in place, which means that anything apart from flexibility in school timings is restricted. But what exactly is this morning looking like? Monday morning numbers. Toya, over to you.
Let's go over to very quickly. Okay, first we, as always, are bringing you the general numbers and the look of the entire region. Current AQI, if you just take a look at the average in the entire region, we're looking at 274. But let's take you into specifics, especially if you're anywhere around Delhi. Let's take a look at the numbers. Overall, we've got more purples than we have reds. This is the reference chart down here, but we've got more purples than we have reds today. Let's take a look in depth at what each of these numbers actually mean though. So let's start with Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium and the numbers around there. It's 254. You've got 319 coming in from Wazirpur in one side of Delhi. Is it the highest number we've got over here? No, it's not. Take a look at 359 you've got coming in this region of Delhi, and much worse than all of that. If it looked like our numbers were largely in this region, you've actually got 961. 961 coming in from sector 116, so very close to where we are right here in Noida. Pollution levels at hazardous at 961, and as you can see, that is the highest number that we are reporting from the Delhi NCR region. But let's go back to Delhi itself. Let's bring you numbers in this region. RK Puram, this is the number that we bring you in South Delhi. It's obviously close to the green pockets that we talk so much about in Delhi around the Aravali Biodiversity Forest. 229. If we just check in on more numbers over here, Parparganj, which falls somewhere between Delhi and Noida, you've got 201. As we said, once again, largely numbers are in the purple region, but you've got one or two danger points. One of those two danger points being right here in Noida. So if you're in Noida, if you're near our studios, for example, this is when we need to mask up, right?
Right, mask up, get your air purifiers up and running. Remember, the right kind of mask is what you're looking at, not your cloth mask or a surgical mask. You need an N95, and your air purifiers need to have a HEPA filter on. So that's what you really need to look at. But enough about pollution, let's talk about some solutions here. And can you imagine an AQI of just 25 in Delhi? You just saw the numbers over there. But imagine if they were to come down to just 25. Aquaponic farmers Peter Singh and Nina Kaur have made this come alive. This remarkable couple tell us what it means to live sustainably.
Right, all of this from a home that's a breath of fresh air, literally. They've gone viral over the last few weeks for their approach, but it's actually very cool because it goes beyond AQI. These are two people who are living sustainably in every single way. Peter and Nino Kaur actually took us through their entire story. They took us to the house and showed us all the inventions and devices that they've come up with to make sure that they are exemplary pillars of green living. Take a look. This is the gorgeous home of Nino and Peter Singh, a couple who are a sparkling, real-life example of green living. They first got people's attention and went a little bit viral because of the incredible AQI inside their home. It's a result of a covering that Peter has built around the entire house and garden so that the polluted air outside can't come inside. Our audiences can't see this, but you've panelled out every area. The door behind us also, all the area above it is sealed.
Yeah, so this is the only door, the entrance. There's a veranda here, and all around the house we have a greenhouse poly sheeting which you can get from Amazon, different sizes. A structure has been made all around. The poly sheet is on top, so no outside air comes.
There's also a contraption to filter the air that does come in, and Peter tells us how he made it.
We have used a standard cooler panel, 6 feet wide, 8 feet tall. There's a pump that's pumping water into it all the time, and then there is a fan. This fan pulls in the air, so the panel is doing two things. One is filtering the air. So outside pollution levels are 500. Here, as you can see it, you're breathing fresh air.
And smell it, yeah. I just want to tell our audiences it's clean, it smells like we're in the mountains. It's a little chilly, if we can add.
That is because of the fan now. So, and that chilly is beneficial in summer when outside temperature 45, inside home is 25, no air conditioning. And this air is coming here, it's going through, there are fans circulating it, it comes through our house, there's an exhaust fan at the kitchen and it goes out. So we have fresh mountain air coming in through our house all day.
If Peter is the mathematician who has designed this entire space, it is Nino, his wife, who does all the growing. Clean air supports the more than 15,000 plants in this magical little space.
We have a 10 by 14 foot chamber, which in summer
Oh wow.
has the only air conditioner in the house because we grow lettuce, we grow spinach. These are microgreens. These are a powerhouse of nutrition. This is red radish, methi, mustard. Here's lovely bok choy. So these are all microgreens. That much vilified
Mushroom, but
paddy
it's a
straw
kind
is growing mushrooms. So here we are. We've got mushrooms. It's very easy to grow mushrooms all winter. You can put them in a corner in your
Well, I
house.
must say though, I love you touching on paddy straw at a time when paddy straw is called the main culprit.
Absolutely.
It's considered
so
the
we are
chief villain
using
of,
we are using it. All you do is boil the paddy straw, kill any bacteria, fill bags, and grow mushrooms.
The couple uses aquaponics to water their plants. They keep fish in a tank and use water from that fish tank to water the plants that are scattered around the entire property.
This is 5 feet wide, 5 feet long, and 5 feet deep. This tank has 150 fingerlings of rohu, katla, mirgal, carp varieties. So now that fish is now about half a kilo each. They were put in about 8 months ago. They are about a half a kilo each. The other tank at the back, that fish is about 3/4 kilo each, almost a kilo each. By March, it will be over 1 to 1.5 kilos. We harvest that. We have a chest freezer. We put the fish in there and then we restock that tank with small fingerlings.
Peter and Nino's house is also a zero waste one.
All our food waste, which is the peels, leftover food, we throw into this drum. And to that we add this bio composter,
This is a biocompost
which is a natural bacteria. So this liquid we add, this does two things. One, it speeds up the waste decomposition and also prevents smell. So the beauty is we use our food waste to grow food again. Now isn't that wonderful? So now we've made it very simple. We add the food waste on top. We made a cut below in this old drum, and we can in 2-3 months we can take the compost out.
They then use the compost for the plant beds where they grow delicious vegetables. But if it all seems too complicated and not like something you can do at home, well, the Singhs don't agree.
People have a balcony, they say, what can we do? Lots of people call that. I said, simple. Now, this model we have developed with an aquarium.
Yeah, the beauty is that it needs the equivalent of one light bulb of electricity. So you see, the water is in the aquarium. This pipe takes the water to this tray. Here we've got lettuce growing. Then the water goes down to the lower tray. We've got spinach growing. It goes down into this tank and is pumped up into these pipes, goes up and it flows back again. So it replicates an aquaponic system in brief. So we've got mint, pudina there, palak, lettuce.
And see, these are a system aeroponic towers. In this one pipe, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants. Now you can put plants on this side also. In a 7-foot pipe, you can put 35 plants. So when you have a balcony, just put these pipes one next to the other and you got 900 plants in one balcony.
Peter and Nino say they're so happy in their house that they almost never leave its cooler temperatures. For them, the house is just one more chapter in a lifetime of partnership.
Well, we've always worked together. When we got married, we were on the farm, we did farming together, we planted an orchard, we pruned it, we did beekeeping together, we brought up children together, of course.
But in beekeeping, I got the bee sting, she got all the awards.
Well, some people have to have the good luck.
With video journalist Arjun Singh, this is Toya for The Breakfast Club.
That is such an inspiring story, and kudos to them to have done and created this whole ecosystem But you know, if you have ideas on how we can sort of recreate this in smaller apartments, you know, since a lot of us in Delhi NCR region live in that, do write into us with your comments. Would love to know some pollution solutions coming in over there. With that, let's slip into a quick break. On the other side, we bring you the future of cars. It's clearly electric, the Mahindra XEV review by Overdrive in a moment from now.
The persecution of Hindus continues in Bangladesh. In the latest development, reports of vandalism at yet another ISKCON center in Bangladesh have emerged. Today, ISKCON has called for a worldwide global player meeting against the backdrop of attacks on ISKCON devotees in Bangladesh. Devotees, in fact, in over 150 countries will gather to chant and pray for the safety of minorities residing in Bangladesh. India continues to express concern over the atrocities against the Hindus living in Bangladesh, and recently, in fact, the RSS has also demanded the immediate release of ISKCON monk Chinmoy Krishnadas, and in fact has also appealed to the Bangladesh's interim government to ensure that the attacks are stopped immediately. And some breaking developments now coming in. We are learning that amid escalating tensions in Bangladesh, ISKCON Kolkata Vice President Radha Raman Das claims that two ISKCON priests who were associates of Chinmoy Krishnadas, the monk currently arrested, were also arrested in Bangladesh on Saturday. Let's listen in to what ISKCON's Vice President has to say.
29 नवंबर को जब श्री आदि पुरुष श्याम दास और रंगनाथ दास ब्रह्मचारी दोनों जेल में बंद चिन्मय कृष्ण प्रभु को प्रसाद देकर वापस आ रहे थे, तो रास्ते में उनको पुलिस ने गिरफ्तार कर लिया। यह भी खबर मिल रही है कि चिन्मय कृष्ण दास के जो सेक्रेटरी थे उनको भी गिरफ्तार किया गया है। और ISKCON का एक सेंटर है वैरव में, वहां पर दंगाइयों ने घुसकर पूरे मंदिर को तहस नहस कर दिया है। तो इस तरह की खबर हम देख रहे हैं कि रुकने का नाम नहीं ले रहा है और समझ में नहीं आता कि क्या करना चाहिए। रविवार 1 दिसंबर को बांग्लादेश के माइनॉरिटीज के लिए भगवान से प्रार्थना करेंगे।
CNN News 18's editor is Kamalika Singh Gupta is joining us on the broadcast. Kamalika, very good morning to you. Please walk us through the details with regards to these two ISKCON priests that the ISKCON Vice President is claiming has been arrested.
See, what we are getting it from these sources is that one of them, like Shyamdas, Brahmachari Shyamdas, they went to meet Chinmay Krishna Prabhu. And then after that they were arrested there. That's what Radha Raman Das is claiming, and that's what we are getting from ground sources. There has been no official confirmation from Bangladesh side that is there. And today, whole day, various temples of ISKCON in worldwide, they are going to actually pray for the minorities in Bangladesh and for the release of Chinmay Krishna Prabhu and others. And as we know that some of the bank accounts have also been freezed for coming 30 days, that is also a concerning area. The lawyers have been beaten up and none of the lawyers now want to stand for them. That is also a concerning area. So according to ISKCON, this is a very, very, very bad situation where there is only now, there is this way of praying. We have seen that in last week, ISKCON in Kolkata has prayed and they have done a protest kirtan, probably for the first time in the history. Such a protest kirtan was seen there in Calcutta, and today also in the evening from 4 to 6 there is going to be special prayer and kirtan there, which is a protest. Now this is the condition. We are also getting another news that one of very renowned journalist, Munni Shah, was picked up by the police yesterday night, and then today in the morning, according to the news reports that is coming from the agency, from the papers of Bangladesh, to the morning she has been released on the basis of certain bond. That is also very concerning, where this bond means that it means she must appear in court to seek bail and comply with police summons. So situation really bad. This journalist too is a Hindu. So this is a very, very concerning.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. There's been so much chatter online about all of Mahindra's new electric releases. The BE and the car we're going to be focusing on today, the XEV 9e. It's the latest electric SUV to hit the market. As we said, the internet is abuzz, and we'll tell you more.
It's got a range of up to 656 kilometers, they claim, on a single charge. This car is definitely making waves, so we thought, how is it to drive? What are the insides like? Is it really worth the price? Here's Overdrive with all the answers.
Now start driving the XEV 9e, it's a bit more familiar, the overall driving experience, considering there is more than a hint of the XUV 700 still in this car. So yeah, in terms of the seating position, again it has that you sit fairly high up, you have a flattish kind of bonnet in front of you. Now coming to the driving experience, again hardware and the mechanicals are identical between the BE6e and the XEV 9e. So very broadly, they also drive similarly. So again, this electric powertrain delivers power in a linear, clean fashion. There's not that big, huge lump of torque that's hitting you every time you press down on the accelerator. And like in the BE6e, you do find that the performance, it's there right up to over 100 kmph, about 120ish is the fastest that we've gone, and it's fine. I mean, it's still pulling there, so overtakes and all of those maneuvers are not really any issue.
The Inglo architecture uses a 59 kWh or the larger 79 kWh battery pack seen here. The cells seem to have been sourced from BYD and feature the blade battery technology and cell-to-pack construction. The more upright shape and greater weight make the XEV 9e less efficient, but there is still a good 656 kilometers of range as per the ARAI cycle. So you can expect between 390 to 430 kilometers in the real world.
So again, you have a steering setup that is light, easy to drive. It's mainly focused on city driving or the everyday driver. So yeah, it's effortless and really quite easy to maneuver, not that much of an issue. And in terms of the ride, again, you do notice that with these large wheels there is a slight bit of firmness, and that inherent firmness that you have with EVs. In the brief time that I've spent driving these two cars, this does seem to be tuned a bit softer, a bit more focused on comfort, very marginally. And you do notice that over a broken patch of road, while you do feel it, you do notice the sharp edges, there is a bit more travel in the suspension, I feel, which does give you a better sense of comfort. But that also means that high-speed stability is maybe not as good as the BE6e, it's just a hunch. You do notice that you have to make small corrections with the steering wheel, often a bit more in this, or maybe that could be just down to the fact that we're driving on slightly more uneven roads. Now you get 3 drive modes in this: range, average and a race mode or a faster mode, and they work as such. Now the range mode, it's not too restrictive, you can use it in the city. Maybe on the highway it will be a bit too slow instead of bridging that gap between the next car or making an overtake. But otherwise the everyday mode is a thing, you can just put it in that mode and forget about it. And then you also have the